morning because I believe we are here. We are gathered here for something very beautiful, for something very special, and that is to recognize and celebrate our culture, our tradition, in the form of our rich folklore. And it is really very special to see every tribe of Nagaland gathered, just represented in one place with a common purpose and interest. Herman Hesse, a famous German writer, stated that folklore is the mirror in which a society reflects its dreams, fears, and aspirations. And the renowned author J.L. Borges said, folklore, language, is the soul of a people. And the famous Irish poet W. B. Yeats captures and echoes these very sentiments when he stated that folklore is the meeting point of the past and the present, where ancient myths come alive and connect us to a shared humanity. And truly so, today folklore is the universal language, that symbiotic factor that has the inherent ability in it to transcend borders and to bring people together. And folklore, we can say, is well at the crux of a people's cultural heritage, passed down orally from generation to generation, through stories, tales, songs, etc. And so I think we can really
Sikshakshayam gacchati kalapariya, which means if a particular knowledge, if it is not in practice, naturally that knowledge automatically get deteriorated if it is not in practice. So as a language, see, as all of us know, that language is the source of communication. If the particular language is not in use, naturally we tend to lose command over that language. Like my ancestors who belongs to Tamil Nadu, my ancestors' mother tongue is Tamil, but I am nowhere connected with Tamil today because I totally lost command over it as we are not speaking at home. So like that, language, as long as it is there in articulation, as long as it is in use, then only we can protect the languages. So that's why, taking into the nature of language, Sahitya Akademi has decided to organize language conventions in entire country. So for that, as part of that, we have been today, maybe today and tomorrow, we are going to have a mega language convention in Naga languages. That too, we have, I think if I am not wrong, for the first time we are conducting language convention in 19 languages together. Generally we conduct maybe one language at a time, but it's for the first time we are conducting 19 languages. At that same time, like Sahitya Akademi has also constituted a board called, I think Dr. Mimi knows, that a board called Center for Tribal and Oral Literature. What does this board do? Again, just like as I said, language development board, again this board also takes care the preservation of many unrecognized languages of India. Particularly, as you know, I think head of the department she was mentioning in her welcome address the role of oral tradition. As you are much aware, I think our Pro Vice Chancellor do agree with me that if you go to Vedic time, even till today, still the oral tradition do exist in Vedic oration. See, Vedas are not being learned in form of written form. They are being learned by listening. That's why Vedas are called as Shruti. Shruti means by listening. So the oral tradition is there right from the very beginning of this nature, if you go in that perspective. So that's why, and the oral tradition as well as the nature of storytelling, the oral narratives. We have so many oral epics. And the much heritage and culture of India is just located in oral epics only. And what Sahitya Akademi is doing is that we are trying to bring them in form of audio documentation, or we are trying to publish in form of books and other things. And I think all of us do agree with me that COVID-19 has taught many things. And out of those, one of the things that the COVID has taught us the role of oral relation, oral articulation, and many things, and the value of mankind. So I think from these instances, I think we are at the right time, at the right path to protect our cultures and languages. And I urge all the participants of this today convention that we shall have a healthy discussion that may gives us a chance to protect all the 19 languages. Because as you know, just now Pro Vice Chancellor sir was sharing with me that as per the demography is concerned, as per the geological map is concerned, maybe it is as far as the area is concerned, it's a less. But we have such a rich heritage. Maybe the population is only 23 lakhs, but you have how many languages you are? Maybe after 1 week, from December 1st onwards, you are going to have what do you call? Anvil festival is going on, wherein you could see the greatness of the Naga tradition and other things. So, with these few words, I once again welcome all of you to this today convention, language convention in Naga languages. And once again, I sincerely welcome all of you on behalf of Dr. K. Srinivasa Rao ji, because he is much interested to attend this program, but because of last minute commitments and other things that we receive time and again, he could not make it, but he has conveyed his greetings to all of you for organizing this today language convention. And I feel that all the languages that are there in the part of this two-day languages convention do enrich us through this convention. With these few words, I once again welcome all of you and sincerely thank the Nagaland University, particularly the Pro Vice Chancellor, for taking interest. Because when he was getting honored, he said that no, I am part of this organization. Why I am being honored? I said because he is feeling that am I outsider being getting honored? No, sir, you are much part of this, and you are because of your efforts only the things are getting materialized. Thank you so much, and thank you so much, every one of you.
Nagaland is one of the most linguistically diverse states of India, where several languages coexist. It has a rich linguistic tradition with more languages than the number of tribes in Nagaland. There are numerous dialects as well in each of these languages. We probably have around 60 dialects total today. Now these dialects are part of the Indo-Burman group. Variations in dialect also exist from village to village. This is very common across many parts of Nagaland. Each village has a slightly different variation of the dialect, and these variations increase with distance. So this actually makes communication between tribes and within tribes very difficult. It is under these circumstances that English became the official language of the state, and Nagamese is a mixed language, Assamese and so many languages mixed, the lingua franca. But many people understand, they have read Hindi, they understand Hindi. We have Nagas who have graduated in Hindi, and we have one person from Nagaland who has got a PhD, the first PhD from our Hindi department in the Nagaland University. This small state of ours is home to 19 recognized languages, 19, and we have 16 tribes, including Konyak, Khom, Chang, Kyamungan, Yimking, Tikhir, Sanktam, Aul, Lotha, Sema, Pochuri, Jonkwe, Nteni, Tenidie, Zemi, Liangmai, Keza, Chukri, and Kuki. For long, these languages did not have a written script. We therefore have to rely on the folklores of the tribes of Nagaland to decipher the historical and cultural heritage of these various linguistic groups. It is imperative that we now document the past in a phased and systematic manner, but urgently. Urgently because most traditional knowledge keepers are very old today. The few of them remaining are possibly the last of our oral heritage. It is important to create awareness, document, and conserve the rich legacy of the tribes, to preserve our cultural knowledge passed down orally through the generations. To help this process, the participants from the various tribes of the 16 districts of Nagaland will showcase the age-old, diverse and rich oral traditions of the various tribes through their folk tales, poetry, the proverbs, etc. during this convention. With this, ladies and gentlemen, I wish you all the best, wish the convention all the best. Hope to see good results coming out in the near future. Thank you very much.
Okay, so if I were to give a title to this address, I would call it The Language, Literature and Indigeneity, and Reclaiming the Indigenous Languages of Nagaland, or our own languages, reclaiming our own languages, which is a reconsideration. Okay, so now each indigenous language has an incalculable value for humankind, a treasure laden with history, values, literature, spirituality, perspectives and knowledge developed and garnered over millennium. And when a language dies, it takes with it all of the memory bound up inside it. So this is from the UN General Assembly President. And I start my talk with this. Now, coming from the languages of the world, if you look at the Northeast, that is the seven sisters or the six sisters plus one, the seven sisters plus one. Now, if you look at it, there are, out of the 5 language families which we find in India, there are 5 language families. Out of the 5 language families, 3 of the language families are found in India. That is the Sino-Tibetan, or what is also known as the Tibeto-Burman language family, the Indo-Aryan, and the Austro-Asiatic. So out of the 5, 3 are found in the Northeast. Now, coming to the census of India, which reports 1,500 mother tongues, out of which 122 are officially recognized. 22 of these languages are scheduled languages, and out of these 22 scheduled languages, 3 are from the Northeast, which are Assamese, Bodo, and Meitei. Now, out of the 100 non-scheduled languages, 64 of them are from the Northeast. And the best part is 19 of the 64 are from Nagaland. So that is why we have a reason to celebrate our languages. You know, we have so much. Coming from there to the language scenario in Nagaland, I would calculate around about 95 indigenous languages. I use the term languages because this term is appropriate for the undocumented lingual entities. And the state accommodates English as the official language. Nagamese is the lingua franca, as rightly pointed out by the Pro-Vice Chancellor. And Hindi and Sanskrit are included in the school curriculum. And why I say they are 95, now, I mean, this is just a speculative figure. We have not really counted the number of languoids or varieties, but if we say that there are 19 recognized languages, and if we say that each language has 5 varieties, and I think there are more than 5, but if we take the number at 5, then we arrive at the figure 95 languoids. So now if we look at the language scenario and this networking of languages, it can be understood in this form of this chart. And we find the indigenous languages, that is the 9 recognized indigenous languages and the respective varieties. Then we have the the societal languages, which comprises of the indigenous languages, which belongs to the Tibeto-Burman family. Then we have English, which belongs to the Indo-European family. Then we have Nagamese, which is the lingua franca, and it belongs to the Indo-Aryan family. Then we have the pedagogical languages, which is the indigenous languages plus English plus Hindi plus Sanskrit. Now coming to the societal languages, the languages under this grouping have been coexisting together amicably for years, each knowing its individual place in the hierarchical structure and performing its individual functions as designated. It's very strange, but the languages seem to know that, okay, this is my place, this is where I perform, and and so this we have been coexisting like this for many years. In this grouping, Nagamese is the language which does not feature in the other 2 groupings. That is, though it is neither a pedagogical language nor an indigenous language, Nagamese is a lingua franca and it is fast spreading. This is something which we need to keep in mind. And the progressive nature of this lingua franca is something that we all need to be aware of. We cannot stop the growth of a language, that is not within our capacity, but what we can do is that we can be aware of its presence and of how it is overtaking our languages. And it is also pertinent to point out that though Nagamese it was known as a pidgin, but it is no longer a pidgin, but it has now become a creole. Now why do we say it has become a creole? It has become a creole because it has become the first language of some of the native Nagas. And the point of stress here is that Nagamese language has become the first language for many Nagas. And if we were to say that it has become the first language, then what happens is that from the societal language, it will climb up the hierarchy and take its place among the indigenous languages. And few years down the line, we will have an added language if we are not careful. And it is interesting to note that the mapofindia.com, if you Google it, the mapofindia.com describes Nagamis. This is what is found in the mapofindia.com. It says that it is a mixture of different Naga and the Assamese languages. It has also been enriched with some contributions from Bengali and Hindi languages. Now, this we all know is not true. It is the opposite in actuality. There are no Naga languages or no Naga languages involved in the Nagamis. We all know that. Okay? And it is a mixture of Assamese and Bengali and Hindi and probably Nepali. And it has been birthed, we have to know this, it has been birthed by languages which all belong to the Indo-Aryan family. And of course, enriched by some words from the indigenous Naga languages. Like, for example, we all know words like Akuni, we all know Akuni. So, in Nagamis also, we will just borrow the word from Sema, and it has become a part of Nagamis in that way. But the structure and so forth, it is all part of the Indo-Aryan family. Now, this talk I have taken from another previous talk which I had given, that is the communalization through language, the Nagaland context, and I'm just sharing it with you again today. And so, now the issues and challenges at hand. Alongside academic writings, what the languages need most is grassroots intervention in terms of linguistic and literature development. The majority of translation works and writing of folklore is being done in English. It is being done in English, we know that. And this status quo needs to be broken. And the rebirth of writing in one's own language needs to be encouraged. And creating awareness of the importance of one's own native language, shifting the colonial prestige tag from English to the indigenous languages and to the speakers, resolving issues of publication are steps, if followed, would go a long way in keeping the indigenous languages alive. Now, why this is important is because, to a large extent, the amount of literature a language has in circulation determines the life and vibrancy of the language. And what this convention aims to promote is the documenting of oral literature into the written literature. And so by the end of this convention, each language being represented here will be enriched with one poem, one folk tale, one proverb or a lullaby, and one translated work in the written form, which is to be added to the body of its existing literature. So that is the whole aim, and I hope that this is the start of when the languages will start writing in one's own language, the speakers will start writing in one's own language and enrich your literature. Whatever folk tales you have, whatever poems you have, start writing them down in your own language. And this will go a long way in enriching the language. So we need to reclaim and resource our indigenous languages and take pride in them. Thank you so much.